Welcome everyone. We're going to spend a few minutes today and kind of walk through 7 reasons why businesses are moving from Salesforce to Dynamics. Now, this doesn't necessarily just have to be Salesforce either. It could be other solutions, but really reasons why Dynamics is really leading the marketplace in regards to CRM in general. My name's Bill Kinahan, as Sabrina mentioned. I'm a solution architect with Velosio team here. I've been around the CRM world for about 25 years, specifically Dynamics CRM since late 2002. So welcome everyone, and let's get started. So we're going to go through today. I'm just going to give a generic overview of Dynamics for individuals on the phone that aren't familiar with kind of the Dynamics ecosystem. Then we'll jump into really specific reasons of why Dynamics makes for a great solution for your organization, whether it be from a sales perspective or a field service perspective, or really any of the pieces that we'll cover today. Then we'll wrap up with little questions at the end if anybody has any specific questions they want to ask. So Microsoft Dynamics is really geared around sales, service, field service, marketing, but it also encapsulates a lot of the things you see on the screen here. So the middle area you see is really that sales, that customer service, that field service, that marketing, customer insights, ERP, all of those components where we think of CRM and ERP kind of hand in hand together. The outside area here is really showing you areas that are tied into the application. Now, obviously being a Microsoft solution, you're going to have Office 365. So areas like Excel and Outlook and Teams, all of those are not integrations I need to build. Those are actually inherent integrations that I just configure within the system. When you look at the bottom left corner, we've got Power Apps, Power Automate, Dataverse, again, things that are all part of that Microsoft ecosystem. So Power Apps, the ability to create an application with low to no code. Okay, so someone can go in and build out something specific for your organization without having a team of developers sitting there and having to write code to build that out. Power Automate, which is used in all the tool sets as well, really gives you the ability to automate process in the system. So workflows, notifications. And the interesting thing about Power Automate is I may initiate that from a sales opportunity, for example. I want to have something happen when a sales opportunity closes. Maybe I want to notify accounting that a new deal has been closed. That can actually get facilitated from that closure of that opportunity in sales, but now it can go outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. There's all kinds of connectors that allow us to do things in other applications and other systems that get initiated from, again, Microsoft Dynamics. On the top right-hand corner, you see things like Power BI. So Power BI is embedded into the application as well. So the ability to go in and look at analytics. You'll see a few screenshots of that today, but look at those deep analytics. And again, Power BI is an interesting tool to the fact that I can look at marketing information, I can look at sales information, I can look at ERP information. I can also look again outside of that Microsoft ecosystem and look at other data sources, maybe an Excel spreadsheet or some other ERP that you're utilizing from a data warehouse or anything like that. Surface that information and present it right within Dynamics, right? So from an end user's perspective, I'm looking at that data, analyzing that data, not knowing that, it could be pulled from 10 different systems that may not be something I even work in on a day-to-day basis. And then obviously AppSource down in the bottom corner, which we're all used to from having our phones these days where you download different apps. AppSource is really geared towards maybe filling a gap in the solution or an industry solution or something very specific, a very specific need that allows you to go out and grab that and import that in as a solution. And all of a sudden you've got that capability now within the application itself. So everything you see on this slide comes into play, okay, with Dynamics. That internal area is core Dynamics areas. The outside is really enhancing and blowing it out from a functionality and integration and other pieces of buy. So let's get into those 7 reasons that we talked about. So first reason would be pricing. Now, Microsoft pricing is, as you see on the slide here, can be different depending on which area of the application I'm interested in. So In regards to sales, we have professional, we have enterprise, and we have premium. Now, the professional being the lowest at $65 a user a month, enterprise being $95. Now, that's an additional functionality that's added into enterprise, allowing you to do things like forecasting and territory management. There's an actual list that you can look at to see what you fit into one or the other. You also have premium. Premium brings in some of the AI components, the insights components within the application, and allows you to just buy that single bundle that now would again enhance those opportunities and those customers. All of that information from our artificial intelligence perspective would be included there as well. When you look, I'll come down to marketing in a second. When you look at customer service, very same idea. We've got professional, enterprise. There's different functionality available in enterprise, obviously, things like SLA and things along those lines that allow me to enhance that customer service experience. Field service is a single license at 95 user a month. There is no multiple tiers there. That license is across the board. And then marketing is $1,500 per tenant per month. So what that is actually a tenant license. It's not a user license. So you could have multiple people on that marketing solution. It's geared off of the number of unique people you're sending emails to on that as well. So the unique contacts you have in there will be geared towards, I'm sending this person. Maybe I have 100,000 contacts in my database, but I'm only sending to 10,000. Then I would only pay for those 10,000 as opposed to that 100,000 that are sitting there. So the pricing from, if we compare this to a Salesforce perspective, we are typically known as being lower priced than Salesforce. But again, Salesforce will adjust their pricing depending on the customer and the size and things like that. So it's a little hard to compare, but this is the pricing based off of it. From a deployment perspective, now deployment being both Salesforce and Microsoft have that cloud type of versions, those online versions. One difference between with Microsoft is it's very simple, right? It is, if you have a Microsoft stack or the Microsoft infrastructure in place already, you have that, your Office, your all the other Microsoft technologies that you're utilizing, it's really a license addition to there. So you're going up there, you're purchasing those licenses, and then you have access to set up those users that are part of your tenants and all that kind of thing in there. Look at it as just another Microsoft product, right? So if you're in that ecosystem already, you just set it up. Now, one difference between between Salesforce and Microsoft is we also provide on-premise with Dynamics, okay? So the ability, if you want something inside those four walls, sometimes we run into that for security reasons. We run into it from a GDPR perspective, all of these different things that may not give you the ability to put your information up in the cloud. You do have the ability to use that on-premise as well. The third, now from an ease of use perspective, Microsoft has spent a lot of money over the years making the application easier to use, right? I've been involved with this product since day one, since alpha of version 1 actually, and the product is just continually evolving and evolving and evolving. So it is very intuitive. So, and I think part of that is because the application feels like a Microsoft application. So I'm used to working in Microsoft application, whether it be Teams or Outlook or whatever it might be. It has that same look and feel, right? So I'm able to do similar things. Example of that is when I'm in Dynamics Sales or in Dynamics Customer Service or any of those tool sets we talked about, I have a recents area. So recent being very similar to when I'm in Excel, right? I look under that file menu, you can see all the different spreadsheets I've been in recently. Same idea within the application. You have that recent records, I can tag those records or pin those records so I can look at them quickly and get to them quickly. You also can personalize the application pretty substantially. So the idea being I can personalize it across the board for everybody in the organization, right? So they would have the ability to, maybe we have some fields we need to add, or I want to change how somebody sees a form or a view, or I want a special report. All of those could be done by a system administrator. A little bit different with Dynamics is the ability that as an end user, I can also personalize that, right? I can create my own views. So if I want to look at a filter of information, It may be something that I want to tweak a little bit. Maybe it's in my territory or by a certain product. I can do that myself without having to go to admin or going to get someone to do that for me. Same with dashboarding, right? I can create my own dashboards. Not many applications out there allow me to do something on the fly like that as an end user. Now that is all based on security, right? So I'm going with the assumption that your administration allows you to do that, but most organizations do. Very simple to personalize that experience for myself. So when I log in, I'm seeing what I want to see, not what just generic across the board. A business process, so you'll see in the diagram there on the right-hand side, interested in new products, that's a business process flow. That allows me to walk through a process. Now, the one we're looking at here is a sales process, walking through qualify, develop, propose, and close. That could be a process anywhere within the system, right? So it gives that end user some steps to walk through in order to follow, in order to, again, in this case, get that opportunity closed. Sequences and playbooks are another couple tool sets in the application that allow a sequence. If, again, from a sales perspective, if I look at a sequence, it allows me to run through certain steps in order to maybe qualify a lead, right? So I want to have an intro call. I want to follow up with an email to them. All those steps are created automatically for me, so I don't have to go out and manually create them myself. A playbook could be, again, from a lead perspective, the ability to go in and have a playbook set up on how to handle a certain type of customer or a certain customer in a certain region. Those playbooks I can walk through and, again, step me through different processes. Workflow, is we talked briefly about it before, is really the automation side of it. So the ability to automate notifications, update records, all of that type of stuff. Again, all of these things that I'm talking about are things that I'm not manually doing myself. The system is smart enough to know that this needs to happen at this point, or I want to create this record at this point. And now obviously help and training. Training is close to my heart in regards to, you always need training, right? For those end users, those power users, to the ability to go in and know what they're getting into, right? The ability to go in and how do I create a new contact? How do I create a new case? How do I create a new work order? All of those things in the system are quite simple to do. And again, irregardless of which area I am in the system, it is very similar. So I create a new record, I'm always going to the top left-hand corner. If I want to save it, I'm always going there. If I want to export to Excel, I'm going to the top right. Very similar on each screen that I go to. Again, from an end user's experience, it's very simple. From an integration perspective, now, before we used to talk about integration as being this big thing, right? This complex, arduous thing that everybody kind of veered away from. Now all we talk, I was thinking when I was setting up these slides how times have changed. Now integration is really just a configuration. Do I want to turn this on or turn this off within the system? So examples of that are Outlook, right? So you can see on the right-hand side, I've got a pane here that actually is surfacing information, and it's editable information in regards to an email I got inbound, right? So same for a calendar appointment. All of that information is available to me quickly. Again, that also comes into play from an ease of use perspective, but in this case, we're highlighting it from an integration side of things. Teams in the last couple of years has really taken off. Teams is embedded into the application as well. Again, this is just a switch I'm turning on in the tool to enable Teams. So people can now chat within the application, maybe in regards to a certain organization, or in regards to an opportunity or a case or a work order. I have the ability now directly from Dynamics to actually chat with my team members in regards to something. I flip that around a bit. Dynamics is available within Teams as well. So I can reference information like this dashboard that we're looking at. I can reference it in Teams. So really there's no wrong way to get to that data. It's really where I'm comfortable with, right? From an ease of use perspective, how I get to that information is up to me. Excel, I talked about this before. So obviously being a Microsoft solution, we have all these exports out to Excel from, hey, I'm just going to take this data with a push of a button and dump it into an Excel spreadsheet, maybe for viewing or doing some analytics on. Or maybe I want to push that button, I want to select certain fields, push them out to an Excel spreadsheet, create a pivot table on the fly, and keep my data source being Dynamics. So meaning that I can put that on my desktop. I come in tomorrow morning, I double click, open up that spreadsheet. it's refreshing the data out of Dynamics for me. See it used sometimes for an executives who aren't going in to do anything in the Dynamics, not looking at or not entering information. They're looking to get some information out. Very simple way to do it. Obviously, along with Excel, we've got Word, so mail merges are available all throughout the system as well. SharePoint, if you're currently using SharePoint, it's embedded in here. And again, I reiterate, this is just a switch I'm turning on, right? In the admin area, I'm saying, yes, we're going to use document management within the system. So now I have, from an end user's perspective, I can save documents directly on this account record or anywhere I choose in the system. Again, I don't know it's SharePoint being used, right? I'm using Dynamics. I'm utilizing the power of SharePoint from a document management perspective. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is tied into this. Also, LinkedIn Campaigns is tied into this as well. So Sales Navigator, the ability to go in and reference different information from LinkedIn and have it populate into Dynamics for me automatically. Power BI, I talked about that before, where I have different sources, again, embedded directly into the application. I choose whether I want to use that within Power BI or do I want to use it within Dynamics itself. And this is a big one. This is Business Central. So Business Central or ERP tied directly in. This is a configuration. When we used to do integrations in the past, I'd have to build an integration. I'd have to build those touch points on each end, the mapping, the rules, all that kind of stuff. Microsoft's built it into Business Central. Now I'm just pointing it to my Dynamics environment, and then I'm exchanging information back and forth, updating that information back, maybe sending an order update from BC back into my CRM or into my Dynamics, so I can, as a salesperson, look at that update of information. And then you take it to the next level. There's customer insights. This is actually looking at data from multiple sources, including the web, and consolidating it into a single area for me to look at that 360-degree view of the client, right? AI is built into this as well, where I'm looking at different information and churn and all that type of data, in this case in regards to Patty. So I get a holistic view of who Patty is and her buying habits and all of that kind of stuff. Again, very useful tool for marketing to use for segmentation of your customer base. And then there's many more. I've touched on a few here. There's many more other ones out there that'll tie in as well, depending on what your need is. Now, from a reporting, we're going to have a little bit of overlap here because I touched on a few spots of reporting in the previous slide. From a reporting perspective, this is a big one too. So we do have Dynamics 365 reports. There's a reports wizard in there where I can build out my report. This is a drillable report where I can drill in and look at filters of this data. I also have the ability to have all these dashboards and charts. This is what I referenced before, that a system admin can create these, but I also as an end user have the ability to create these for myself. So you can see my pipeline there, my open leads, my goals, so anything I'm trying to attain this quarter or this month. All of that is available from a reporting perspective. So we do see dashboards utilized in every one of our deployments, and there's a lot out of the box. Sometimes people create their own as well. Excel, I just mentioned how we can push data back and forth in Excel. Again, if you're a big Excel user, some people like to stay in Excel and just export or use that data from Dynamics. Power BI I mentioned as well. There is sales analytics and customer service analytics, which are two widgets, I guess you could say, from Microsoft that you actually can download and plug directly into your environment. So they're already built for you, though. So the sales pipeline, the customer service side of things are all built. You just essentially plug them into your environment, start utilizing the data in the system, and these Power BI dashboards start building out for you. This is something new. Deal Manager, it's kind of reporting, so that's why I included it in here. It gives me a quick and easy way to view my opportunities. So this is looking at my opportunities through my pipeline, where they sit. We've got a bunch past due here. The size of that circle is the size of the opportunity. Down at the bottom of that screen is showing me all the opportunities, fully editable, so I have the ability to go in and change that on the fly as well. Again, from an end user's perspective, very simple to see where we're making headway and where we're not. And then lastly, from a forecasting perspective, the ability to report on a sales forecast, whether that be territory, salesperson, product oriented, and look at 2 points in time in this case, and look at any trending and how we're kind of moving towards that forecast. From an artificial intelligence perspective, I have touched a little bit on this previously. So customer insights, the ability for the system to go out and be tied into customer insights and give you that plethora of information from multiple sources, tie a bow on it and kind of hand it to you saying, here is a great customer, or give you suggestions on how to improve, or what's the buying habits, or when's their next projection for them to purchase. That's what customer insights does. And it allows you to, again, put this on the forefront. So from a sales rep or a management perspective, I have quick and easy information ahead of me. Sales insights. This is geared more towards that person who's in the field from a sales perspective. You can see this is giving me all the things that it wants me to complete this week. This could include things like a phone call where I get some conversational intelligence out of it, right? So if I'm talking with Sabrina back and forth, I can tell whether Sabrina has mentioned something multiple times. I can pick out keywords. I can see the sentiment of how the call is going with Sabrina and maybe suggest some follow-ups to it. That is all part of the sales insights piece from an AI perspective. Also part of the sales insights is like the relationship analytics. How are we doing with this specific customer? Are they happy with us? Have we engaged with them enough? How often are we engaging with them? And then have the system generate all of that data and start to learn from it and determine which is the best way to move forward with this specific customer. And then customer insights, customer service insights, very much the same as sales insights, but geared towards the customer service side, right? So what's our best return rate in regards to SLAs? How quickly are we getting back to people? Who's our best agents? Who's the best customers from a sentiment perspective? All of that is covered from a customer service insights perspective. Now, the last piece is implementation support, and this is a big one from a differentiator. This is partner-based. Microsoft is partner-based from a deployment perspective and from a support perspective, where Salesforce is geared towards more the vendor side of things. From a partner model perspective, we are all been trained on Dynamics and all the methodology around how to deploy these systems, right? Regardless of what size and what area. We follow a right path methodology, which is our methodology, which walks through a defined process from design all the way up to deployment where you go live, and then the support after that as well. So that is a defined methodology that we use on every one of our projects and has been used over and over and over again. One of the differences with a partner-based deployment would be that we know your system already, right? We helped you deploy the system. If you come back to us with some request or something along those lines, we already have a head start. We don't have to go revisit and have you explain to us what your system is all about. We've already gone down that road. As I mentioned, expertise in Dynamics, expertise on the Microsoft platform, and then from a support perspective of multiple channels to come in order to garner support. It also comes down to that, not a great saying, but that saying of one throat to choke, right? Your partner's engaged with you. We're in this for a long-term perspective. We want to make you successful and make you self-sufficient at the end of the project. And then Microsoft obviously has all the support mechanisms as well, from a portal, from a chat. We talk about the ease of use at the start of this in regards to how you can get up and running on Dynamics quickly. That's exactly the same spot as where your support portal is. So if you have your environment there, you can reference support, type in what your issue is. There's a knowledge base. If you can't find anything, you click submit, and you get engaged immediately with a support representative from Microsoft.